It takes quite a lot of resources to craft interesting game worlds, which means that game developers often need to make decisions on what parts of the game world to focus the most on. If they're making a first-person shooter, for example, it's quite important to ensure that the world is detailed at the ground level and that the items the player interacts with, including the guns, are detailed and high quality. In Death Stranding, you rarely leave the ground and most of the gameplay revolves around navigating the terrain. As such, you'll spend an enormous amount of time looking at the ground. This poses a unique challenge as rocks and ground textures often aren't prioritized to the same degree as structures in video games. In this video, I'd like to look at how Kojima Productions solved this challenge and have crafted a visually interesting landscape where each patch of the ground you navigate is unique and beautiful. To start off, there are different biomes offering their own particular selection of flora. There are also more decidedly rocky areas featuring highly detailed volcanic rocks. These are intriguing in particular as they compose the primary challenge for the player and as such is strewn all over the landscape. But no rock feels similar to another rock. A lot of care has clearly been put into ensuring unique rocks that are particular to the biomes in which they belong. Some are disruptive and jutting out of the ground, while others are flatter and pose little to no challenge to the player. They are geometrically complex and, depending on the biome, contain moss growing in between the crevices or, alternatively, all over them. In other areas, the surrounding sand will fill the rock crevices instead. This is particularly noticeable in the crater with its orange sand. Furthermore, there is also a huge variety in the density of rock and foliage. Some areas have massive gaps between rocks, while others practically only consist of rock. In addition to the details on the rocks, there's also a variety in size. Bigger rock formations are placed throughout the landscape, while smaller and yet still detailed rocks litter the surrounding area. These do not offer a gameplay function like the rest, but they do ensure that the ground area doesn't feel as it solely consists of a single ground texture. It adds dimensionality to it and therefore credibility. One of the more prominent formations are the columnar basalt rocks. These are the result of cooling of a lava flow, and they add wonder and a sense of mystery and history to the game world. It truly feels as if there is a reason behind the look of the landscape, that it is a result of natural phenomena. This also reflects that there is little to no human interference in the environments. The only area where the outside environment is decidedly designed by humans is the Timefall farm, and the cities, of course. There are also paths in the environments, but none that are crafted by humans, simply ones that have emerged over time on popular routes. Humans thereby exist in the world without being designers of the world. Furthermore, there is one single concept of rock formations and flora per area, which strengthens the feeling that each area looks the way it does because of events many centuries ago. It removes the risk of the world feeling random, and combined with the lack of human design of these outside environments, it evokes wonderment in the player. A similar amount of variety and attention to detail is present in the game's foliage. As mentioned before, moss will be found in wetter areas of the map, while others are covered with blades of grass. These are particularly fun to observe during Timefall, as the acceleration of time speeds up their development and subsequent death. All rock formations also react nicely to rain, building up a reflective sheen that catches the light. It's this combination of variety and attention to detail in all parts of Death Stranding's outside environments that ensures a game world that is always visually engaging and beautiful. And it showcases why it's incredibly important to ensure that if a player will be looking at something for the vast majority of their playthrough, then you better ensure that the thing they're looking at is detailed and non-generic. And that's what Kojima Productions have done. They've cranked up the geometric detail while lovingly crafting detail into every part of the environment. And I really do think that this amount of visual detail is one of the major reasons that Death Stranding works so well.